Thomas DeMoss, who is a real estate agent and a man who puts his own money on the line, puts his own skin in the game, if you will, looking at helping people come into houses that they buy from him and helping people who want to get out of a house, get that house off their ledgers and onto Thomas DeMoss's ledger, during which time he improves that property, makes it attractive, spending as little as possible to make it look as valuable as possible for the person next he encounters upon a given property, and that is the buyer. So he's the man who is that's the shorthand, I guess, for the words real estate investor. He makes his living, he makes his cash flow, his calling, his wherewithal is connected with properties. Thomas, these are all houses, right? Or are there commercial properties as well in your
up to this point, David, they are all houses. So let me just say one thing. Hi, Mom. So yeah, Mom gave me a hard time. She actually found out I was on a radio show before I told her. But anyway, so hi, Mom, love you. Hope you're listening. So, but yeah, David, no, we've done strictly residential real estate, and to kind of give the listeners an idea of what we do, we actually just closed on a house that we fixed and rehabbed this week. Kind of give you an idea of this was a house. It was honestly a really interesting deal. I don't know that I'll ever encounter one of those before, but we found a house that had been essentially off market. It was down around the MLK area, around UTC, and we were able to purchase that house. Kind of an interesting situation. The owner of the house did not even know that she owned the property, if you can believe that. And we wound up buying the house.
Can you explain that to me? That's an interesting story.
It is an interesting.
An owner
story.
Was someone, had she inherited the house from a deceased uncle or
no?
Her dad?
Before the real estate crash, she had participated with her husband in acquiring a lot of real estate in the Chattanooga area, and we felt like this was one who had just got lost for whatever reason.
It just wasn't in the paperwork that she had. It just
wasn't in the paperwork. So, long story short,
no file folder.
Yeah, she is like, honestly, when we called her and told her, "Hey, we'd like to purchase the property from you," she was shocked. She wasn't really sure why we were talking to her. But needless to say, we were able to buy that property. It had folks living in the property, and they had lived there for several years without paying rent because nobody was knocking on the door trying to collect it anymore. So,
were they asked to depart?
They were.
Thomas.
We politely asked them to depart. It was, you go into those situations not knowing what's going to happen, and I'm glad to say that it worked out well. One of the things that we try to do is just be fair and understanding with.
Well, how did you arrange a meeting with these people? Did you?
Well, we didn't have a
knock at their door,
we knocked on the door. We put a sign
just before dinner.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we're buying the house. Will you please contact us? They were kind enough to give us a call, and obviously we understand that there was probably some surprise on their part. So, once again, we were very delicate with the situation. We allowed them to stay in the property for some time until they could make arrangements to leave and find other a place to live, which was good for them. They had actually really wanted to buy some land, and it just kind of it helped. It was kind of the catalyst that helped them to get to where they needed to be. So, but we bought that house, worked on it for several months, and it was just, I hate to say it, it was, it was a blight.
It was a blight, and they lived in it, though.
And
they hadn't made external improvements or patched up the porch.
No, absolutely not. They just didn't have the desire to do that.
They were getting it for free, so they have probably little motivation to make it improvements on the amenities.
Absolutely. But yeah, we bought it, fixed it up. It was one of the neatest things in there. And one of the things that I love so much is when we rehab these old houses, had these laminate floors. This was a house that was built in the 1900s, and I was praying when we took those laminate floors up that the original wood floors would be there, and they were. And our floor guy, he brought them back. They looked incredible. So that was, like I said, we actually sold that house this week, and one of the things that the buyer remarked on was the floors and how great they look.
This is David Tulis. We're talking with Thomas DeMoss. He runs iBuyChattanoogaHouses.com. That's iBuyChattanoogaHouses.com. And if you want to give us a call now and chat with Thomas about real estate investing or the problems you may be having with a contractor is part of that larger picture, feel free to call our studio line here. It's 800-8949. That's 800-8949. So now this week you said that the house that you're describing that was occupied by people who were sort of squatting on it, that house was sold. What kind of profit did you make in your investment, and what kind of give my listener a little bit of an idea of how that works and what you do? Why is my listener going to call you? Because he wants your help to do the same thing? Is that why he's calling you?
Well, yeah, I'm a licensed real estate agent with Keller Williams Realty downtown. I've been in real estate investing for over 10 years now. So we're in commercial. We're exclusively residential real estate, and I've got experience in all facets. Rental properties, we've got a portfolio of those. You asked about the profit. I'll just say this because I don't like to get into personal details. We did really well. I mean, that's what we're trying to do. We took a risk on a property. We bought it sight unseen. We made what I felt like was a good profit on that. But the outcome is we provided a valuable service. Now Hamilton County is getting far more taxed than they were before. We've got a homeowner down there who has pride of ownership. They're going to take care of the house, and he was super excited to get it.
So the value you're giving to the listener, Thomas, is have people coming to join you in this investment work. The service you're providing through iBuyChattanoogaHouses.com is the seller or the buyer, the would-be seller or the would-be buyer calls you to either buy the house from him or to help him find a house that has been possibly through this process of rehabilitation.
Yeah,
is that fair?
It is a fair question. It's not an easy question to answer because we are into, like I said, many different facets. The website iBuyChattanoogaHouses.com is set up for people who are what I would describe that they need to sell a house. There's a couple different criteria that I would define that as. Need to sell a house is somebody who may be behind on mortgage payments, owe quite a bit in taxes. Sometimes we've talked to folks who have inherited a house for whatever reason. That wasn't a great thing to happen to them. And others have fallen into disrepair, and they just can't afford the upkeep of the house. Have conversations with those people. Try to listen to what their needs are as far as their housing situation is concerned. And if it's a good fit for us to buy the house, that's exactly what we'll do. The other option, because I am a licensed real estate agent, is we can talk to them about listing and selling their house on the market. And I would classify those people as a want to sell their house. Yes, they do need, but I'd say they want to sell their house.
So in some instances, Thomas DeMoss at iBuyChattanoogaHouses.com, you're the player himself. You're the buyer of a house. In other instances, you are the agent of the seller, and you help the would-be seller find a buyer.
Yes.
You're not the actual. You don't write the check. You just arrange for the check to be written through a mortgage company.
Yes, through my position at Keller Williams Realty, we do help traditional home sellers and traditional home buyers buy and sell real estate. There is some overlap in what we do with the investment side, but essentially, what we try to tell folks is, look, we have a huge amount of experience in the local residential real estate market, and if you find yourself in a situation where you have a real estate need, I want you to contact me, and let me help you.
So what are the kinds of services do you provide, Thomas DeMoss, other than buying the house if it looks like a good fit, or being the agent for the sale of a house from one party to another?
Well, we've also got rental properties. That was kind of how we first got started in the investment side of the business. So, what I was saying, we moved to Chattanooga over 10 years ago, bought our first home. It was an incredible experience.
We, meaning your wife?
My wife and I, yes.
Okay.
My wife, my lovely wife and I. But yeah, we bought our first home. It was great. And kind of our motto for our rental properties is we want you to make our house your home. And I think everybody deserves a home to stay in, to feel comfortable. But yeah, Cindy and I moved back to Chattanooga. It was over 12 years ago. And we started on this endeavor together.
Now, when you say move back, were you both former residents of Chattanooga, Thomas?
Cindy is from here. She grew up in Harrison, so she's a local girl. Her dad is actually a small business owner here, done really well. And we decided to move back here to be closer to them.
And your family?
My family is in Louisiana, born and raised there. And we actually were living real estate related in Florida at the time. That was experiencing an incredible real estate boom. This was pre-crash, so we saw a little bit of how the excitement for real estate could be.
Well, prior to the crash, there was excitement, there was giddiness among all the players in the real estate market. The house flipping movement became something of a sensation. It was written up in the paper, in the ordinary paper. There were seminars, there were people doing it, giving the inside scoop on how to get into that field, as the market will eternally rise. This is a new economy, and there were at the time warning signs. And today we have a bubble going as well. And there are two parts of the question, Thomas DeMoss. What are the exciting things that you're seeing in the real estate market? And then part two of the question, if we can get to it, is what are the warning signs that also are evident in Chattanooga?
David, that's a good question. So let me do this as it pertains to the title of the show, Reality Real Estate. I think most people's impression of a real estate investor is the fix and flip shows that they watch on television. And let me just say that there's not a lot of reality in that television. It is a completely different world once you actually get involved in that. One of the things that we've tried to do, and I hate the term flipping, because that, to me, it denotes just the old school.
It suggests opportunism, pure and simple.
Yeah, it does. And I've seen a lot of lipsticks on pigs where people actually don't, they're covering up problems instead of fixing them. And we try to do a better job than that. We want to provide a value in everything that we do.
So when you sell a house, Thomas, is there an inspection done by the buyer? Is that routine? Your houses are all inspected by the buyer, and faults in the property are told to the buyer by his inspector?
Absolutely. I would, as a real estate agent, and anytime we buy a house, we definitely want to have it inspected, because even after doing this a number of years and being experienced, you're always going to miss something. So you want that expert, that second set of eyes per se, to come in and point out any issues that may be in a house.
Well, is the excitement in the market today? The real estate people are always excited. Okay, we understand that. They're always excited. They're always positive. In the market today, is there as much excitement of the gain in the gain in the number of transactions and the rising in prices as there was prior to 2008?
I think there's a lot of excitement right now. And I tell you, being in Chattanooga for the time that we have and being invested in the community, not only personally but professionally, and you see the growth that Chattanooga is experiencing, it is something to be excited about. There's a lot of good things going on here. I've commented to my investment friends, I didn't really anticipate us being where we are right now. I thought that it would take a lot longer. But to me, we're 2 years ahead of where I felt like we would be with the growth that we have seen come into Chattanooga.
What does growth mean? Define.
A lot of this is just anecdotal. I mean, you've got Volkswagen, they were the catalyst to a lot of this growth. And now they're putting in a second line. You've got the vendors that are the secondary vendors that they've grown with and that are bringing jobs to the area. As a real estate agent, I can tell you that a good portion of my clients that I have helped buy houses have been from out of state. I've helped several clients that are moving from Colorado, from Texas. They're folks who see the value that we have, and they want to be a part of it. They're outdoor folks.
Are they moving here?
They are moving here. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So the growth that you're referring to is in the price. Now, when prices go up, one party is happy and the other party is not. So I guess, is it fair to say that in your field, you're indifferent to whether the trend is up or down? Is that fair? Because as you're involved in the middle, you make your living whatever the market's doing. Is that accurate?
I think our business can do well in either market. Obviously I'm a value guy, so I like to get more for my money.
Well, you're talking about growth. So how is, you say growth in the market? What is that? Is that referring to the price of houses? Is that referring to the volume, the inventory of houses in Chattanooga and Howland County? Where is the growth? Where do we see this growth?
Yeah, what you're seeing right now, I mean, it's kind of economics 101. There is a low supply of houses right now, and that's going to increase demand, and increased demand is just going to increase prices. And not to bore everybody with economics and statistics, but that's just the way it is. People are willing to pay more for it. And that's what we're seeing right now. The new builds are not keeping up, although we have some new builds. It's just not keeping up with the demand for houses right now, and prices are appreciating fairly rapidly.
In the mayoral debate Monday at East Ridge Town Center, there was quite a bit of discussion about the housing market. And one candidate said that there is a shortage of 6,000 units. Another candidate said, well, that's a deceptive figure because that 6,000 refers to people who have applied for vouchers needing a house. So clearly it's well less than that figure. What is the housing market look like? Is there a real shortage? Are there plenty of houses, or we have somewhat of a free market in housing? Is the supply keeping up with real demand?
Yeah, and that is a good question. And I can tell you just from personal experience, working with buyers, we see a lot of disappointment. And I tell you, is there a supply issue? I think that there is, but there is a definite supply issue of good houses. There's a lot of houses on the market, but nobody wants to live in a bad house. And when a good house comes on the market, there are typically multiple offers. I'm working with a client right now. We've seen a couple of houses, and unfortunately, when we try to submit an offer on the house, it's already under contract.
This is David Tulis, and we're talking with Thomas DeMoss. He runs iBuyChattanoogaHouses.com. That's iBuyChattanoogaHouses.com. You can call us if you have a question about real estate or maybe real estate investing. The number is 800-8949. That's 800-8949. And later, when Thomas heads back out to provide service to as many customers, you can call him at, write this number down now. It's 834-7321. That's 834-7321. So we have growth in the market, Thomas, but when you say that, you're pointing out here that there's a kind of a lamentation. There are not a lot of good quality houses. Is that not though good for you as someone who buys these dog houses and makes them respectable by investing some time, some contracting dollars, some lumber, nails, labor, maybe some new tile for the roof, investing in these houses, and then selling them at a profit? You're making a profit off of, you deduct your expenses, and then you have a profit in the sale. Is that not something good for your work at iBuyChattanoogaHouses.com?
It is an opportunity. It's something that we truly appreciate. I was mentioning on the last show that I had my contractor. He called me last week and said, hey, man, the house that we're doing down on Oak Street, we're getting a lot of positive feedback. And I said, can you just tell me how that's coming? And he said, because neighbors are driving by and they're honking the horn and they're sticking, thumbs up out the window. I mean, we've had people that have just come by and clap, because what we did is we took a house that had sat for probably over 10 years. There had been other investors that had purchased that house, and unfortunately they just let it sit. So we're almost 2 weeks from market on that house. I think it looks incredible. All of these houses, they're kind of like babies. You birth them, you try to grow them up, and then you got to. Well,
say something more, Thomas DeMoss, about Oak Street and this particular property. What does my listener need to hear about it?
Yeah, so I don't mind that the property address is 1708 Oak Street. It is in the historic Orchard Knob area. The reason we were down there, we've done several remodels in the Highland Park area, and this was just an area of growth that we felt like we needed to do something down there, and we were able to come across this house. Actually, the folks who contacted us were from I Buy Chattanooga Houses website, and these were local investors. His business, he had an HVAC business, and it had just taken off, and he did not have the wherewithal or the time to work on the house. So, he called us up. We were able to make an agreement on the house, and now we've taken something that was just a blight on the community, unfortunately, because there is a spectacular house right there on the corner. And now we're 2 weeks from putting it on the market.
And how can our listener, Thomas, call you to ask about that property?
Well, the number that you gave, 834-7321, I would say that is from I Buy Chattanooga Houses, but my mobile number is 423-364-0028. Either one of those numbers you can reach me on. 364-0028.
We're talking with Thomas DeMoss. He runs ibuychattanooga.com. He's an investor and a real estate agent with Keller Williams. And we've been talking about the expansion of credit in the recent economy since the meltdown. And we've been 10 years. Thomas, what do you make of the American economy? And we have this rise from out of the central bank and the banking sector. There's more money sloshing around in the economy. What are the risks to that? What does the listener need to know to take advantage of things before the risks get too high or too great?
Well, David, we were talking kind of before the show. I grew up with my dad instilling the rules of investing at an early age. You save money, you invest money, things that are real assets. I would think he started me out buying gold and silver, and that eventually, and I know not everybody's on that bandwagon. I get that, but it was all about the investment philosophy. So you don't spend more than you make, you save your money, and then you invest it.
Well, if you buy gold and silver, which I recommend to my listeners on the venues in which I have a chance to speak to them, is good and interesting. But when you buy gold and silver, your money's not working, it's waiting, right? Because your money, what you're counting on is a decline in the value of the paper dollar vis-a-vis the metal, which is real money. It's constitutionally honored and right, you might say, a righteous form of a medium of exchange. You're holding your buying power, you're holding your work, your labor in that coin or those coins, waiting to come back into the market where they can work. And working is what you do, though. You take money, and it's working in the economy. It's hiring people, it's moving properties, it's improving properties. So you save. When you were a boy, you bought gold and silver, saving your buying power, counting on a decline in the value of the paper dollar. And we're here. We're talking with Thomas DeMoss. This is Reality Real Estate. Thomas DeMoss runs ibuychattanooga.com. This is David Tulis. Thanks for giving us a couple minutes of your time. We'll be back. We've got some important messages here at Nooga Radio. This is Nooga Radio, the station for the man who matters. And this show is about reality real estate for the man and the woman who matter. David Tulis and Thomas DeMoss. Be right back.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. There's a reason why Alliance Physical Therapy is a choice of professionals and those who care about first-class, top-notch service and treatment. Because at Alliance Physical Therapy of Chattanooga, we don't just treat the symptoms in your body. Whether you're suffering from stiffness, muscle spasms, back pain, chronic headaches every day, stress of life demanding more and more of you, Alliance Physical Therapy takes a holistic approach to healing, mind, body, and soul. Alliance Physical Therapy with a location near you and 9 others in the Chattanooga area. If you don't have a doctor or if your physician's plan for chronic pain is not working, Alliance Physical Therapy will help. Visit Alliance Physical Therapy on the web at nopainpt.com. That's nopainpt.com. Alliance Physical Therapy.
Amigos Mexican Restaurant in Hickson, featuring our NASCAR Natty Light for only $2.25 all day during the Sprint Cup race. That's right, all day during the race. Enjoy a cool, crisp, refreshing brew. Natty Light, just $2.25. Also choose from a wide variety of other beverages on tap or in the bottle. Amigos, between Hobby Lobby and Staples in Hickson. Amigos Mexican restaurant, a real homemade taste of Mexico. And Natty Light for only $2.25 during the Sprint Cup race. A festive atmosphere, great service and prices, a fantastic taste. Always fresh, never frozen. Stay cool, quench your thirst at happy hour, 9 to 3 today and every day, featuring huge drink specials at Amigos. Take the table next to mine. We'll enjoy the Sprint Cup race on huge flat screen TVs with friends and family. See you here at the Cantina, Amigos.
Is your career taking you where you want to go? If not, talk to Covenant Group Insurance, especially if you like helping people. Call and learn how you can work for yourself, but not by yourself. Intense but free training, plus a fantastic lead program, plus office support equals your success, your prosperity. Gross at least $75,000 your first year selling insurance. Call Steve or Jada for a confidential interview. That's 855-8484. Maybe the most important call you'll make all year.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Nooga Radio News. Russell Stroud reporting. An inmate died at the Silverdale County Workhouse on Wednesday night, and an investigation is underway. Hamilton County Sheriff was called to investigate the death of an inmate at the Core Civic, formerly CCA. The inmate was transported to a local hospital and pronounced dead there. It's been revealed that Neil Pinkston directed the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office to investigate. Medical examiner will also be investigating. Early voting is underway, and the turnout is not so great. Just 3,267 people so far as of now have voted. Only 88 went to the most popular voting site on the most popular day. The low turnout is not exactly surprising for Hamilton County, and not even for Chattanooga. Back in the 2013 mayor's race, only 17,873 people cast their vote out of almost 106,000 registered voters. A Hamilton County school bus driver has been fired after investigators believe he was using a cell phone while operating a school bus. What's going on in the Tennessee Valley? It's going on Nooga Radio, AM 1240, and NoogaRadio.com, the exclusive home of NASCAR.
Expect partly sunny and warmer weather out there through your afternoon. High soaring into the lower 70s tonight. Fair, some more late fog, lows into the lower 50s. For Friday, even warmer. Could be a record breaker. Highs upper 70s. Some showers tomorrow night, then breezy and cooler Saturday. With quality parts and more than 90 years of experience, Napa Auto Parts can help you keep just about anything on the road. So stop by your local Napa Auto Parts store and keep it running longer and stronger with Napa know-how. And I'm Sourcine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
This is David Tulis, and we are here at Nooga Radio. We're talking with Thomas DeMoss, and our moment here together is Realty Real Estate. Thomas runs a platform that's called iBuyChattanoogaHouses.com, iBuyChattanoogaHouses.com, and he is an investor in real estate. He is also a real estate agent through Keller Williams, and we've been talking about the whole program he's developed to take houses that are languishing, that are laggards, that are dogs sometimes, such as the house on Oak Street that was just seemingly abandoned for the longest time, that he has rehabilitated and will be having on the market soon. We've been asking him about his trade, his field. And so Thomas DeMoss, what will the listener today find when he drops in on iBuyChattanoogaHouses.com on his smartphone? What's there? What's it all about? How are you intending to benefit him?
Well, there's a lot of information on that site. We try to educate people as much as we can. Obviously, the site is there for folks who need to sell a house, so we want them to definitely contact us. What you'll find is some testimonials of folks that we have helped before, and so that's there. We've got a blog that's just information specifically to Chattanooga real estate, things to look for. Once again, we're just trying to educate our clients and help them with whatever real estate needs that they may have.
Well, what are some secrets that you offer there and in personal conversation, Thomas DeMoss, that will help the listener today be wiser, more sagacious in his dealings in the real estate market, assuming he has not done anything there for a long time and It's just trying to figure out where to go, what to do, how to think.
Well, that is a very broad question. So let me see if we can get a little bit specific on this. One of the things that I would say, if once again, it's about educating. So if somebody has a question pertaining to selling a house, then definitely I would like them to call me. They can reach me at 364-0028, area code 423. So there's a couple of different ways that we can segment that out. We deal with folks who need to sell a house, and we definitely want to educate them on that process, walk them through. And what we try to do is give folks options. We educate and then give options and let them choose which one fits best for them. I had a conversation with a lady this week. She had contacted me through the I Buy Chattanooga Houses website. We sat down in her living room. She showed me her house, told me a situation about her. She would like to sell her house so she could move to Georgia to be with her two granddaughters that had a medical condition. She wanted to spend more time with them. Well, we had a conversation. I laid out the options. I gave her the pros and cons of selling to an investor or listing it through my real estate agent. And it made more sense for her to go with listing the house. So we went through that, walked her through the steps, tried to educate her. I'm one where I just want to be honest with people, let them know what to expect. I want to exceed their expectations for sure. But I definitely want to help and add value.
Given what you're saying, I'm presuming that if she listed, she would maybe get more for her money, but it would take longer than if she dealt with you. If you were the buyer, you would be able to pay her promptly within a week or so. And so she said, "Well, I'm not pressed. I think I'll put it out on the market to see what the market has to offer."
And that's absolutely right. Like I said, determine what is the best option for people. It is for me to educate and let them determine what's the best option for them. And that's exactly what happened. When we felt like, and she agreed that listing the house was the best process for her, then we took that to the next level where I educated her what that means. And just to kind of give you an idea, one of the things that I have committed myself to is I want to bring value to people. I mean, obviously, as a real estate agent, we are compensated by commissions. And I don't want to have people paying me for a service that they don't feel like they got a value out of. So we're in a digital society. I know this is radio, but we are filming this and broadcasting it on YouTube as well. But we all have iPhones.
And live on Facebook. At the Nooga Radio channel, by the way.
But we most of our life, we are searching. We're on Amazon.com or whatever service on our phones. And most people are looking for houses on an electronic device. I think when I look at my statistics, most people are searching for houses on their mobile device. And I tell you that the thing that is most important is how you present a house, meaning what do the pictures look like? One of the things that I have committed to my clients is I will have professional photography taken on every house because it markets your house. I've had several clients who have said, I cannot believe this is my house. I'm not sure I want to sell. And then we have another conversation after that. But no.
And is that because your photographer took beautiful pictures of their property and they don't want to sell it?
Yeah. And we just walk through, folks. It really captures the potential of the house. So that's one thing. That's the value that we bring. Is our goal is to sell houses, and that's what we try to do.
This is David Tulis, and we're talking with Thomas DeMoss of iBuyChattanoogaHouses.com. You can reach him at 364-0028. That's his mobile phone. That's 364-0028. Well, Thomas, what sets you apart from others in your field? There are many people who are involved in it, and probably many, many good ones. They're all state licensed, and they're intelligent American entrepreneurs. They're go-getters. They know how to present. They know how to market. They know social media. How do you separate? How would you tell the listener that things about yourself that would separate you from, let's say, the pack?
Well, let me just say this. There are a lot of good real estate agents in Chattanooga. But one of the things that personally drives me is I want to see people happy. It is internally something that I want to help people. So it bothers me when I can't find a solution or help somebody achieve a result that they want to do. So I strive as hard as I can do to help them in that, whatever it may be.
And what part of your background, or what parts of your background, best set you forth as a worthy party to call when there is a housing selling or buying need?
Well, I guess we could go back to just what do we value? Work ethic. I grew up in a middle class family that worked, and I saw that in them. They cared for people. It flowed out in what they did in their lives. So that was my initial background, and then just the satisfaction. There's something about when you can help a customer or a client, and you get to that closing table, and you see the look on their face. You see whether it is the relief that they have actually been able to get rid of a house that they don't want. I mean, there is a burden that is released, and it's evident. And it's evident when we ask for testimony. People are willing to give those, and sometimes I have to say, "Man, that's too much." I mean, but they are overjoyed, and I try. That's what I try to do. It is exceed that expectation of a customer or a client in whatever facet of real estate that we're helping with. I mean, yeah, we live in a digital age where Facebook is out there, but I tell you, it means a lot when you're getting a referral or a testimonial from a client that you've helped in the past, and they just they're extremely pleased with what you've done.
Business in the real estate field, Thomas.
I think referral business is huge. Absolutely. I mean, that is the best advertising that you can get. And we highly go after those referrals. We're trying to help our clients. We want them to tell other people about us. Absolutely. So that is what we strive to do. And like I said, it is definitely pleasing to know that you have certainly helped somebody.
You mentioned digital media helping people in the real estate field. What do you do? What do you write about when you have occasion to post content? Because your presence as a real estate agent has to be you show what you know and who you are by the stories you tell and the insights you give on your blogs and Facebook. What do you write about? What are some things that are particularly of note, perhaps in things you've written by text in social media, that alternate reality?
Yeah, that's interesting. What we try to post, going back to kind of the title of the show, Reality Real Estate, is we want people to experience what we see in our day-to-day lives of the real estate market. So we try to give people a glimpse into what we're going through. It's just help people understand, hey, what it's really like, whether you're, however you're doing that. So I do like the social media aspect. One of the things that we really get a kick out of is the video format, just doing the before and afters of the houses. We love hearing the feedback of folks when we finish the house. And when we get a lot of it, it is really interesting to hear people's comments and feedback, positive feedback on the houses that we have renovated.
What kind of houses are you looking at now in the way of purchasing in your business? I buy ChattanoogaHouses.com. Where are these houses? What do they look like? What are they about?
Yeah, we don't discriminate on houses. We will buy a house anywhere. But what we're looking for something that we can rehab is a house that, obviously the numbers have got to work. We've got to run our numbers and be able to, we're running a business, so we've got to be able to make a profit on that. And if we can do that, then that's exactly what we're looking for. We've got a couple of projects right now, going specifically about some projects. We've got one here in Hickson where the house was condemned. And, unfortunately there was a fire in the house. We were able to purchase that house. We'll start work on it here pretty soon. And,
how much of the house was damaged?
There was a pretty good extent. And when you're talking about a fire, you essentially got to go in there and gut it, bring everything back up to code. So it's going to be an extensive amount.
Does that mean a new electrical system throughout, or just in the part that was damaged? How does fire affect things like that, or plumbing, for example?
Well, to my knowledge, and once again, this is where I rely on our partnerships with our general contractors, but yes, we will have to redo the whole electrical system because most of the house was touched with fire. If it wasn't burned, it had smoke inhalation. So we're going to have to gut sheetrock, tear floors up, redo roofs. So yeah,
that seems like an awfully bad mess to try to redeem, and yet you think you can make a living and provide a service to the buying public by fixing a badly damaged house that had water damage too, right? Not just fire damage, or charred wood and smoke damage, but water damage, and that's economical to do. Thomas DeMoss.
Yeah, we've not found a house yet that we can't fix. I don't know, it may be out there, but we haven't found it yet, and it's a challenge. I mean, we are trying to redeem those houses for whatever reason they are in. They're in the situation that they're in, and I think it adds value not only to what we do as a business, but it adds value to the neighborhood, to the community, to people who are buying the house. Absolutely.
This is David Tulis, and we're talking with Thomas DeMoss, who runs iBuyChattanoogaHouses.com, and you can reach him at 364-0028. That's 364-0028. Well, Thomas, you mentioned a second property that you bought. Tell us about that. What was involved? What were the faults of that property, and what you're planning to do to redeem it?
Yeah, we've got one in North Chattanooga, actually, that we purchased a couple of weeks ago. And unfortunately, the owner had just fallen into some hard times. They didn't really need the house anymore. So we were able to give them a cash deal. They walked away, and we're going to start renovating that house. It will be a challenge. There are several houses that are around that area that have been renovated. And this one is one that we are essentially going to take a rancher and turn it into a craftsman. So I'm looking forward to that. If you guys follow, we can update you on the progress.
Tell us what that involves.
That's changing the style out. So we will eventually have to gut that house, take the roof off, add some dormers on the front. So we're probably going to change it because it's a rancher style that is a little bit segmented, 2-bedroom, 1 bath. We're going to open it up to give more space for folks. The clientele these days, they want not so much a bigger house, but a more efficient house, and that's what we're going to try.
And what does that efficiency involve? I don't quite get a sense of what's happening here in this building. Fewer bedrooms, bigger living room. Is that what you mean? No wall between the kitchen and the living area.
Absolutely. We're going to take the wall out, open the kitchen up to the living area, just to increase that open area or open concept. Really give people an opportunity to entertain. I think it's a lifestyle that we're trying to. In that specific area, trying to appeal to, and what we're going to do is do the best we can to appeal to it, the North Chattanooga lifestyle.
Mayor Andy Burke is taking credit for his blight program, and his executive branch, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, issued a report about properties that are sort of being harassed by inspectors. There were 1,000 properties at least mentioned or numbered in the report, in which the inspector says to the owner, look, we have a problem with this house. You're going to be condemned if you don't make repairs or make it habitable. Mow around it, clear some of the bushes around it, and fix the roof and so on. What does that program have to say for your field? Because you zoom in, you swoop in on properties like that. Is that a large area in which you can make a rehabilitation and make a profit, or are these houses that are somehow beyond the pale? Nooganomics.com.
I don't think so, David. I kind of had a feeling you were going to ask me about that. And let me tell you my personal experience with that. This is just appreciate what the city's trying to do. It never fails that whenever I have a rental house for some degree, the grass may get a little tall, and I'll get one of those letters, and they stress me out. We make sure that everything's taken care of. But I tell you, I had a conversation with another real estate investor buddy of mine, and he was saying that, yeah, it would be nice if the city would enforce those code requirements in some of the areas that they actually needed to, some of the downtown areas. I think and I know everybody's trying to do the best job that they can, but let's go after those areas. Let's cite those code violations. Let's hold people accountable for their lawns and for their cars that are parked on the side of the street. So absolutely, if the city wants to clean everything up, and I know there's a lot of things that we've talked about as far as Chattanooga cleaning up the city, that's one thing. Let's hold property owners accountable for their house. Because that only helps everybody.
And it makes neighborhoods more livable. It raises the property value of those down the street and those up the street, those across the street. They make properties less vulnerable to being squatted on, as one of your houses had been lived in for several years by non-paying people who just somehow took effective custody of the property. Question about blight is that you are providing a free market solution to blight, and that is you're taking a property and you're investing in it, and you're making it more attractive. You're taking the faults of it, you're taking the blight out of it, you're making repairs. That I would say fits very well with the policy of the city government, which is to have livable neighborhoods.
Absolutely, and I would agree with you, and that's what we try to do. We want to be involved in the communities that we're working in. It goes back to being a good neighbor. One of the things that we try to do, no matter what we're doing, if we're rehabbing a house, or even if I'm trying to do a rental portfolio, we want to be good neighbors. We want people to know who we are. So if they have any issues, we want them to come to us, because that is what we're trying to do. And it goes back to what we talked about, the fix and flip tagline that was out there. That's a negative connotation to me. I know that a lot of people embrace that, but we try to take it a step above that. We want to renovate houses. And there's a lot more involved in that than just fixing a house up. And I think the ramifications of what we do can be immense in a community. And that's why we take such pride in what we do. And once again, it goes back to, we want to add value. Obviously, we're in business, so we want to make a profit. We're not hiding that, but we're taking, and sometimes an immense amount of risk. The house that I mentioned we bought, it closed earlier this week. We never walked on the inside of that house. We bought it sight unseen. So there was an immense risk on us, but we felt like the opportunity was there, and it certainly was. And it was just once a situation to where we can add to the community.
Thanks for joining us. We are here at Reality Real Estate with Thomas DeMoss. He runs IBuyChattanoogaHouses.com. And you can reach Thomas at 364-0028, Reality Real Estate. You talk about being a value guy, Thomas, and have an interest in the growth in the marketplace. How is it that you're a contrarian? In what sense are you contrarian in the practice of your field in real estate, and maybe also in your economic philosophy?
Well, I'm a value guy, and as we mentioned, I like to buy things that have some appreciation in them. I want to buy, I'm just like everybody else. I want to buy things that are on sale. So I know that I go in there, if the market goes down a little bit, I've got something that can help. We can sustain a correction, and that's what we like to do. Talking about a contrarian, I'm hardwired that way. That's just the way I was raised. So it is interesting. I see all the growth that we have, but I definitely want to temper some of the excitement to some degree, and just say, let's be careful. Let's don't have the irrational exuberance that we had a few years ago.
So if you're a contrarian, then what is it that you are contrary to? What are the main premises or the popular fibs out there, Thomas, that you say are misleading or not right, and against which you are to which you are contrary, if you're a contrarian?
Well, and this may be contrary, but I'll pick on this. You hear the term that buying your home, your primary residence, is an investment. I would argue with that. And I would say an investment is something that you are making a profit on. You don't make money when you buy your primary residence. That is an expense. It costs you money every time that you have to pay for that house. If you have a mortgage, the only way you were getting that money out of your house is if you sell it or refinance it. So when I talk to folks who are looking to buy or sell, I want to counsel them on that. And as far as expenditures, we want to make sure that they not only budget. It's a lifestyle thing. It's how much do you want to spend on a house that meets, makes you happy, that brings you the what you need in space and those kind of requirements. But it just goes into one of the things that I like to do for folks is give them kind of an overall financial picture of real estate. I like to talk to folks and say, look, I'm a real estate advisor, much like everybody's got a financial planner. Real estate is just the area of expertise that I am in. And so that's what we try to do.
Well, what else could my listener, our listener, Thomas DeMoss, consider we have a moment here before we have some important announcements. What is something else that he or she might want to consider about his situation, needing to buy a house or needing to unload a house?
Well, the first thing is definitely give me a call, 423-364-0028. I am passionate about all things real estate and definitely want to help people either buy or sell a house. If there's a distressed situation as far as needing to sell a house, contact us at ibuychattanoogahouses.com, or you can call me on my direct line there, 423-834-7321. We're here to help people, educate people where we can, and give you as many options as we can.
And this is Reality Real Estate, and Thomas is at the website, ibuychattanoogahouses.com. That's ibuychattanoogahouses.com, and his the main number for his operation is 834-7321. Write that down, or maybe now that you got your pen in hand, write down the second number, and that's his wireless number, and that's 364-0028, 364-0028. Thomas, it's great to chat with you.
Absolutely, David. Enjoyed it.
And we are here at Reality Real Estate, where reality matters. The contrarian value investor guy, the real estate agent from Keller Williams, is here to help you buy or sell a house. Is it the biggest investment of your life? Maybe it's more than that, or maybe it's less than that. This is David Tulis, and we'll see you next week.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's the Herd.